So, can you believe it? Just 1 week. That's all it took for Amari Cooper to come back to the Raiders and suddenly say, you know what? I'm done. 1 week. That's it. I mean, honestly, if you've been following this team even for a little while, none of this really comes as a surprise because the Raiders have never been a team that gets to enjoy a normal, uneventful offseason. Something always has to happen. Some drama always has to unfold. And usually, it's right before the season kicks off. It's like clockwork. You think the team is finally settling in. And then, boom, another headline hits, another twist throws everything into chaos. Just to give a little context, it wasn't that long ago that we were all dealing with the Christian Wilkins situation, that bizarre moment that had fans scratching their heads. Then, as if that wasn't enough, there were all these swirling rumors about Jakobi Meyers potentially being on the move, talks about trades and roster shifts that kept the locker room on edge. And now, right on the heels of all that, here comes Amari Cooper, a player we were just starting to get excited about seeing back in the silver and black, and he drops the bomb. He retires 4 days before the season opener. That's not just a curveball. That's a full-blown hurricane hitting the team when they least expected it. And for someone like me, I have to admit this one stung. I was genuinely hyped for his return. There's something about Amari Cooper stepping back onto that field in Las Vegas, running routes, making catches, and just bringing that energy that makes you feel like the good old days are coming back. I wasn't expecting him to carry the team on his back or dominate like he did in his prime, but seeing him out there, contributing, maybe being a spark in key moments, that was enough. And now, gone. Just like that. The reports started rolling in early today, and it was surreal to read them. According to insiders, Amari Cooper informed the team that he no longer has the desire to play football. He intends to retire immediately, ending what could have been a hopeful reunion with the franchise that originally drafted him. The timing couldn't be stranger. After signing at the end of training camp, after showing up ready to get back into the grind, and now heading home from Las Vegas without taking a single snap in a regular season game. I remember the first reaction I had when I saw the news. My mind went in 100 directions. At first, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone was trolling. In my group chat, people were throwing around the news, and I kept thinking, no way. There's no way this is real. But then, the reports kept coming from multiple sources, and it hit me. This is actually happening. And what makes it even harder to process is the context. This isn't just mid-season, where maybe a veteran calls it quits quietly. This is the week before the opener. This is when everyone is gearing up, getting their game plans ready, and hoping that each player is going to show up to contribute. And now Amari Cooper is out. What makes this even more perplexing is his own statements just last week. Cooper was talking to anyone who would listen, saying he still had plenty of juice left. He wanted to show it. He wanted to be back, to prove he could still perform at a high level. He sounded motivated, confident, and ready to make an impact. And yet, in just a few short days, it seems like something changed. Whether it was physically, mentally, or emotionally, we may never know the full story. Of course, fans immediately started dissecting the footage of him in practice. Social media went wild with clips of him running drills, some saying he looked a bit off, a little slower than expected. Comparisons were made to younger players, to current stars, to anyone who looked faster or sharper. Some fans questioned whether he had lost a step or if he just wasn't fully invested anymore. And then there's the perspective from the coaching staff. Even after the announcement, the Raiders coaches acknowledged the talent was still there. They saw flashes of the player everyone remembers, but ultimately, they also recognized that his heart might not be in it anymore. Talent alone isn't enough if the drive and desire have faded, and that seems to be exactly what happened here. Trying to make sense of this situation, you can't help but wonder about the why. Why come back at all if retirement was looming just around the corner? Was it a test to see if he could still compete? Was a hope that he could recapture the spark from years past? Or maybe it was simply a personal decision that evolved as he got back into the grind of practice, the demands of the game, and the realities of what it takes to play at a professional level. It's confusing, frustrating, and yet, somehow, fitting for a Raiders offseason that rarely goes smoothly. From the team's perspective, this creates challenges but also opportunities. With Cooper stepping away, more responsibility falls onto the younger receivers, the guys who are going to have to rise up and show that they belong. Players like Dante Thornton Jr., Jack Bash, and Trey Tucker suddenly find themselves with a bigger spotlight and a chance to step into meaningful roles early in the season. It's a trial by fire, but these are the moments where careers can be made or defined. For the team, it's about adapting quickly, finding depth, and making sure that the offensive unit can still operate effectively even without the veteran presence of a familiar face like Cooper. And then there's the emotional side for the fans. Seeing a player you once cheered for come back, only to have him leave before the first game, it's tough. There's disappointment, sure, but also a sense of understanding. You respect the choice because at the end of the day, no one knows better than the player himself how he feels about his ability to contribute and his passion for the game. The silver and black community can grieve the nostalgia they were hoping to experience, but they also have to acknowledge that the reality of professional football is complicated, and sometimes even beloved stars make decisions that shock the rest of us. Even amid all the chaos, it's not all doom and gloom. The Raiders have options, and they have a young core of receivers who are hungry to prove themselves. The team can look at the depth chart, identify who can step up, and even consider bringing in experienced veterans to provide leadership and stability. The landscape changes quickly in professional football, and the ability to adapt is often what separates good teams from great ones. Cooper's departure is a setback, no doubt, but it also forces the organization to make decisions they might have been delaying and to give opportunities to players who may otherwise have been waiting in the wings. And let's not forget the business side of it all. While fans may be disappointed, the financial and roster implications are significant. By stepping away, Cooper frees up space for other moves, for adjustments that could ultimately benefit the team. It's a delicate balance, managing talent, managing contracts, and managing expectations, all while preparing to win games on the field. So, yeah, it's a lot to process. 1 week, that's all it took to go from excitement to shock, from hope to a sudden void at a key position. But that's the Raiders for you. Chaos, surprises, and stories that keep you on the edge of your seat. Now, shifting gears, let's talk about Jakobi Meyers, because while Cooper's sudden retirement stole all the headlines, there's still a story brewing that could have just as much impact on the Raiders season. Meyers has been a consistent presence for this team, a player who quietly goes about his business, putting in the work and consistently producing. Yet, despite all that, the offseason has been full of tension surrounding his contract situation. He came in asking for an extension, and the team essentially said no. That's a tricky spot for any player to be in, knowing your value, knowing your contributions, and feeling like maybe you're not being fully recognized. It's a situation that can affect not just the player, but the locker room and the chemistry of the team as a whole. When you break it down, Meyers isn't just any receiver. He's proven over the years that he could be a reliable target, someone quarterbacks trust to make the tough catches and get crucial first downs. He's not always flashy. He's not the one making highlight reel catches every game, but he's the guy who keeps the offense moving, who consistently executes his assignments, and who steps up in the moments that matter. And yet, despite this reliability, he finds himself in a position where he has to publicly assert his value, trying to navigate the tricky waters of NFL contracts and team priorities. That's a lot to balance, and it's the kind of drama that can weigh heavily on a player's mind during training camp and the lead-up to the season. From the team's perspective, the hesitation to extend Meyers makes sense in some ways. They're managing cap space, they're thinking about long-term strategy, and they have to weigh every move against the bigger picture of the roster. But it's not hard to see why fans get frustrated. Here's a guy who has shown up year after year, through multiple coaching changes, different offensive coordinators, injuries, and team struggles, and now he's left in limbo. You can't help but feel that there's a human element here that sometimes gets lost in the numbers and the contracts. Meyers has earned respect, and while he may not be a superstar, he is undeniably a cornerstone in certain aspects of the offense. What makes this situation more complicated is the timing. With Cooper gone, the pressure on the wide receiver room has skyrocketed. The spotlight shifts immediately to Meyers and the younger guys like Dante Thornton Jr., Jack Bash, and Trey Tucker. All of a sudden, they're expected to step up to fill the void left by Cooper, and to make an impact right away. This is where the mental aspect of football becomes just as important as the physical. Meyers has been a professional for years, but even he has to navigate the tension between wanting fair compensation and staying focused on helping the team succeed. It's a delicate balance, and one that will influence not only his performance, but the morale of the entire receiving corps. Now, let's talk about the rookies for a second, because this is where it gets interesting. Dante Thornton Jr. and Jack Bash are now thrust into situations that could define their careers. Normally, you'd expect a gradual integration into the offense, time to adjust to the speed of the NFL, to learn the playbook, and to develop chemistry with the quarterback. But with Cooper out and Meyers' situation unresolved, these young receivers are under immediate pressure. They have to perform, and they have to do it fast. This kind of challenge can either make or break a young player. Some thrive under pressure, rise to the occasion, and suddenly become key contributors. Others struggle, get exposed, and have to rebuild confidence over time. The Raiders coaching staff has a lot of work to do in managing this transition, making sure the young players are ready to contribute without overwhelming them. Speaking of the coaching staff, their role in all of this cannot be understated. Coordinators have to adjust schemes, they have to account for who is actually available on game day, and they have to find ways to maximize production with the personnel they have. Losing Cooper so close to the season opener forces immediate tactical adjustments. Play designs that might have relied on his experience and skill set now have to be reworked. The depth chart has to be reevaluated, and the mental state of the locker room has to be managed carefully to prevent disappointment from turning into distraction. Coaching at this level is as much about managing people as it is about X's and O's, and the Raiders staff is going to be tested in ways they might not have anticipated a few weeks ago. Of course, this also opens up discussions about potential acquisitions. With the wide receiver room thin, the Raiders have to consider bringing in experienced players who can step in and provide both leadership and immediate production. There are names that come up frequently, and while some of them might be unrealistic or just rumors, the team still has options to explore. Veteran receivers who are free agents, players who have experience in similar systems, or even those who can contribute as rotational pieces all become highly valuable in this scenario. It's about finding the right fit, someone who can step in quickly, adapt to the offense, and complement the existing roster. The right addition could stabilize the room and give the team a much-needed boost. From a fan perspective, this is a roller coaster. Fans want to see Meyers get the recognition he deserves. They want the rookies to shine. They want the team to respond to adversity in a way that proves resilience. The narrative shifts from loss to opportunity, and while the disappointment is real, the potential for redemption is equally tangible. This is the kind of drama that makes following a team like the Raiders so compelling. Every offseason, every preseason, every roster move carries weight. Every decision can ripple through the entire organization and affect the trajectory of the season. And at the heart of all this is the reality of professional football. It's a business, yes, but it's also about people, talent, preparation, and timing. Players make decisions based on a mix of personal considerations, physical readiness, and long-term goals. Teams make moves based on strategy, salary caps, and future planning. Fans interpret everything through a lens of passion and loyalty, which sometimes adds pressure to the narrative. Balancing all of these perspectives is what makes following a team like the Raiders endlessly fascinating. You never really know what's going to happen next, and that uncertainty keeps the storylines fresh and unpredictable. So here we are, with Cooper gone, Meyers in a tense contract situation, and the young receivers facing a trial by fire. The Raiders have to adjust, adapt, and make moves to ensure that the offense remains effective. They have to consider free agent acquisitions, internal promotions, and tactical changes to compensate for the sudden gaps. The pressure is intense, but it's also an opportunity to see how the team responds under real-world challenges. This is the kind of narrative that defines seasons. Not just who scores the most touchdowns, but who rises to the occasion when circumstances are least ideal. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Whispers are swirling around the NFL as sources suggest that rising star quarterback Jaylen Milroe may have just inked a 3-year deal, setting tongues wagging across league circles. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders hint that the move could signal a bold strategy by the team, one that might reshape its offensive approach in the coming seasons. Milroe, known for his poise under pressure and a cannon-like arm that has dazzled scouts since his college days, has been the subject of speculation ever since his breakout performances. The rumor of this contract has only fueled excitement among fans, with social media abuzz with memes, hot takes, and heated debates. Some suggest this could be the dawn of a new era, with Milroe potentially stepping into a leadership role that could redefine team dynamics. Those close to the organization reportedly see the signing as a calculated gamble. 3 years may seem short in the grand NFL scheme, but it could provide enough time for Milroe to develop, adapt, and potentially cement himself as a franchise cornerstone. Analysts are already imagining scenarios where his dual-threat ability opens up playbooks in ways previously untested, keeping defenses on their toes. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.